Hi, I'm Sam Birkin. I'm Head of Sales from phs Greenleaf.
Hi, and I'm Steve Dieppe, Managing Director of Greenleaf.
So over recent years, Christmas has changed completely. I joined Greenleaf 3 years ago and we were just coming out of COVID, so people were returning back to the office. But demand for Christmas was still on the lower side. People were going for minimum height, quite standard decorations. But now 3 years on, we're seeing people return to the office. You know, people are stipulating 3 to 4 days a week. And therefore, the input into Christmas has gone from your sort of traditional 7-foot tree to bigger and better, so bespoke designs, 10-foot plus where they've got the space to do it, to really create that office and commercial environment for staff and colleagues.
Yeah, but I think it's also become very, very more strategic, both from a social media perspective. So within hospitality, creating that wow social marketing moment, you know, as people walking into your establishment, creates a lovely atmosphere. But then in the offices in the cities, it's bringing everybody back. It's that community spirit that we've been missing since COVID. So it has completely changed in the last 5 years. I think they're looking for all of those things put together now. It's become a must-have to be sustainable in some shape or form. I think you need that wow moment, and it's a connection. And it's really important with Christmas.
Yeah, I think it depends on what sector you're looking at as well. So from a hospitality perspective, they're looking for the wow factor. People that go into these spaces, the point has been proven that people spend more time in an environment that is festively decorated. So hospitality are going to spend more on that wow factor, whereas you also have the element for offices to be more traditional. So we see red and gold being the key colours that people have in those office environments. But the underlying core, to Steve's point, is that everyone now is looking for a sustainable solution. So the fact that for every real tree that we use, we plant 2. For our pre-decorated trees, we bring them back in. You can see them behind us now. We bring them back in. We recycle what we can, and we redecorate them and rejuvenate them ready for next year. So we're not using disposable plastics year on year. We're always recycling what we can.
Yeah, just to add to the live trees, 50% of our live trees actually go into biomass, which is also another great sustainable point for phs Greenleaf.
Yes, absolutely seen a shift in what we're asked to supply. And that could be anything from trees made of recyclable product right through to the baubles that we use on our trees. So an example is not supplying a tree with baubles with glitter. So we've reduced our baubles that contain glitter. There will always be a requirement, I think, for glitter. It's Christmas, it has to be sparkly, but we're definitely reducing that throughout our supply of trees.
Yeah, I think also when it comes to live trees, you know, where you're growing them, making sure they're from renewable resources. So, you know, for every tree we cut, depending on the year, it's either 1 like-for-like tree or 2, depending on the crop. But again, we also looked at where we buy our trees from to reduce our carbon footprint in delivery. And the other key thing is that when we finish with a live tree, 50% of our trees go back into biomass, again, trying to keep sustainable as we can do. And the only other point I think with decorations is we still want to make sure that they last as long as possible. So it's always a fine line between one-time use products, even though it might seem more friendly, but we always try and find ones that last sort of a minimum of 3 years, part of our commitment to reuse, recycle where possible. It never stops. Christmas is 24/7, 365 days a year for us. We even start planning the following year before we actually finish the year before. And that just depends on the sector that we work in. So hospitality, that it's really important that they choose their designs, the menus, and they know what themes they're going to have for the following year. So the earlier that we can do that, we help with design work, we look at sourcing the right materials, and you just need to allow more time to do that. Otherwise it becomes too late, and if you're scrambling to do something in September, the availability of product becomes harder to do that.
Yeah, just to add to that, we work with marketing, sales and operations, and our suppliers really early on in the current year for next year to look at what the colour palette trends are. So we're always looking 12 months ahead at what the colour theme is for next year. So last year we were already planning our themes that we're releasing for this year.
I think it's like we've said already. So I think the really key thing for us is the delivery of trees and the recycling of trees, because that has our biggest impact on our impact on sustainability and ESG. So again, it's making sure that all the trees are sourced where possible in the UK when it comes to live trees. The artificial trees, again, we're recycling them. We can make trees last up to 7 years potentially, depending on quality of the trees. And so we look for products that aren't just going to last 1 year. So we're just throwing those away every year. But again, there's also, we're always looking at innovation in types of trees. So we've tried things like replica trees, which are real trees that have been preserved. As another option, so it's not plastic, it's not live, it sort of sits in the middle. We're looking at different sources of materials, things like sugarcane is a product that we're now starting to look at, and there's hybrid trees where it's a mix of different types of materials which will be more sustainable long term. But again, the key thing for us is to make sure we get lifetime out of the trees. We're not just using them one time and then they're being thrown away. That's really important to us.
Yeah, another innovation is looking at the actual delivery of our trees and collection of the trees. So because it is Christmas all year round for Greenleaf, we can use routing software to make sure that we are sustainable in how we deliver the trees and how we also collect them as well, so that we're not going from left to right, up and down the country. We're using our depots, their resource and strategic routing to install them each Christmas as well. I'm sales, so I'm always going to say yes. Absolutely, we can broaden what we do, and we're always looking at new things that we can deliver. It's not just trees, it is decorations as well, and it's about making whatever the environment is that we're decorating for Christmas festive from sort of door inwards for what we do. So that could be garlands around doors, for example, lighting structures. We've got a breadth of suppliers that can support us with installs for our customers. So it's not just your 7-foot tree. We do everything from trees, accessories, decorations, lights, and always looking at what else we can do.
Yeah, and I think to follow on from that, with the development of social media, trees are really becoming the focal point for social media. So the marketing opportunities with Christmas trees and your Christmas approach is really important for a return on investment and growing your market share, being appealing. Again, if you're walking past and you see a really lovely Christmas tree, you might just stop and have a look, and then that's an opportunity to get people into an establishment. So I think there's always going to be, as the market and conditions change, as more people go back into the office, I think the statement side of Christmas is really changing, and it's that whole connection. I think the more people want to be social again, Christmas is the best time of year for bringing people together, and I think that's the growth that we're starting to see, and it's really started to increase over the last couple of Christmases, and we're already seeing earlier signs this year that this year could be even bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I think the key thing for Greenleaf is our experience. So, our teams here have got 40 years of experience. As long as we've been doing Christmas, and we've adapted over that time. But I think the key thing for Greenleaf is we've got national coverage. We know how to deliver Christmas. We're sustainable. We know what customers need and what they expect from us. So we take all of the hassle out of Christmas. Our catchphrase is, we do Christmas, you do business. We work tirelessly behind the scenes, so Christmas has a little impact. You get all the joy and excitement from it, and none of the headaches that storing stuff, building stuff, health and safety. Let us take care of all of that, and I think that's our key difference. I think the growth of social media for something that is so visual at a time of year when you're trying to connect with people, we just see more and more of that grow. And I think the last 2 years we've seen after COVID, where people were at home, they're struggling to sort of to adjust to the new way of working. And I think the whole hub and spoke model of offices, where offices are becoming a place to connect, I think as people renew their leases and they invest in office space alone, I think we'll see a key change in how Christmas is delivered, especially into the office space. And when it comes to horror and hospitality, there's a sector under a huge amount of pressure. And you've got to be attractive. You've got to be doing something different, initiative, something a bit more wow. And I think, again, at Christmas, when it's such a fundamental time for revenue, Christmas is a good time to invest quite cheaply to get a good return on that investment.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. For hospitality, it's about having people come in. You want people to come into your environment to take those Instagrammable pictures, TikTok videos, and share that moment with their friends, family, etc. You put that into the office. What we're seeing with Christmas and our interior line of business is that it's moving away from that very static corporate feel in terms of the product of like a plant in a pot or a Christmas tree, for example, and it's moving into home trends. So what we're seeing is the colour that is typically on trend for interior designers for homes tends to replicate itself into the following year into the commercial market. 3-4 years ago, you wouldn't have seen a velvet bow on a commercial Christmas tree, but we're now seeing that coming into our service line. So I think that will evolve more. I think it'll be more about what people are used to at home will also be brought into the workplace.
But just to add to that as well, I think bespoke, so 40% of what we do is now bespoke, which aligns to a specific project colour scheme that's relevant to the business that we work with. So I think we're seeing more and more of bespoke design, grandeur, larger trees, impacts, all that stuff is growing.